we do the show for this long, you know what you can do? You can admit when you've made a mistake. Late last year, Align Technologies, the maker of Invisalign braces, saw its stock get crushed as investors started worrying about newfound competition from a lot of deep-pocketed rivals. About 2.5 months ago, I very publicly gave up on a stock that I have liked for 100 points and told you to sell Align into strength. Stocks rallied more than 20% since we were in that segment. So even if you believe the worries here were well-founded, I was wrong to recommend selling it down there. That said, the action in Align today gives some people pause. Last night, the company reported a strong top and bottom line beat, excellent guidance for the next quarter, especially on the earnings front. They're talking about making $1.47 to $1.54 when Wall Street was only looking for $1.24. If you were afraid that new competitors would ruin Align's margins, well, I think it's game, set, match. It can't possibly be true. However, the stock actually ended up trading down today in spite of that great quarter. Why? Rivals. This morning, one of Align's chief rivals, Smile Direct Club, struck a deal with CVS, the big drugstore chain, put hundreds of SDCs store within stores at CVS locations this year. How do we make sense of this whole thing? Should we be focused on the actual numbers? Should we focus on competition? What's the right thing to look at? Let's take a closer look with Joe Hogan, the president and CEO of Align Technologies. Hear more about the quarter and his company's prospects. Mr. Hogan, welcome back to Mad Money.
Hi, Jim. Thanks for having me.
All right, Joe, I owe you an apology. I thought that the competition was going to get to your margins. I was worried about Danaher because it's such a good company. I have to admit that I felt trepidation about 3M, which reported a poor number today. I thought they'd be going in. You obviously proved me wrong. Tell our viewers what kind of franchise you have that has been able to withstand really some big deep-pocketed competition.
Well, Jim, first of all, it's a demand equation that you and I have talked about before. I mean, we have an incredible demand. When you think about our product line, it's from a patient standpoint, it's a patient preference. I mean, patients would rather use clear aligners to move their teeth than they would wires and brackets. We're only 10% penetrated in that market, Jim, of 12 million customers overall. And secondly, we see with digital orthodontics an overall customer base of 300 million patients out there. So we see an incredible demand equation. We have the right technology, we have the right business, and I think the right strategic and operational procedures right now.
So then when you see a release that comes out this morning, CVS Health and Smile Direct Club team up to expand access, I'm sure, look, you're a competitive guy. You look at every competitor, but you don't say to yourself, oh, no, CVS, they're everywhere. This could hurt us.
Well, I mean, with CVS, you see that combination of retail and health going on that you see in different health segments too, Jim. So that's not a surprise. And this is how Smile Direct Club goes to market. You know, they don't have a doctor that directly intervenes and, you know, sees a patient in that sense. They have a retail kind of mentality, and it's just another step in their value chain. But overall, you see they're enjoying good growth, and we're enjoying good growth in the North American marketplace too. Let's
talk about some of the secular trends here. My daughter used Invisalign. Now, candidly, I thought my daughter had good teeth. Did she have perfect teeth? The kind of perfect teeth that you see when you go out and people are taking pictures, doing selfies, that kind of thing? No, she went with you. She went with you because she said it was not embarrassing. No one could see she had it. It didn't last very long. And then, boom, her teeth were perfect. How much of my daughter's kind of customer do you have?
We're less than 10%.
Really? So you have a lot more room.
Yeah. Exactly. And I say less than 10%. Let's say your daughter is, you know, a young woman.
That's our right.
24. Yeah. In that marketplace, we have about 25% of the market. From a teen standpoint, we have less than 10%.
Well, that's rather amazing.
That's in North America.
Yeah. I mean, given the fact that dentists, I mean, let's think about this. Dentists are looking for new products, so to speak. I'm not saying they're pushing, I have a great dentist, I'm not pushing anything on you, but they need to diversify their arsenal so they can make a living. And your product is something that many people could use. So that seems like a very low penetration, 10%.
Yes, well, we look at I'm talking about orthodontic penetration. Right. When you look at GP penetration, we don't measure it that way. I mean, it's wide open. That's where the 300 million patients globally, or 100 million patients in the United States, they're in those hygienist chairs, often in the GP office, and GPs can do this, you know, the simple cases often to address those patients' needs.
You know, I was surprised the number of teenagers who start treatment in this quarter, a huge number.
Yes, we're up 41% year on year with teens. We see good strength in North America and overall from a Pacific and also EMEA region also. So that's our most underutilized segment also, Jim. And we have great new technology, mandibular advancement that we talked about the last time you and I were together. Our new Invisalign Teen product where you can start arch expansion at 6 or 7 years old. These are segments of the marketplace we couldn't touch before. And so now we have access to 80 to 90% of the broad teen patients that are out there.
You know, on Monday, I'm going to my dentist, and I said to him, look, I had my braces when I was 13. I don't like the way my teeth are separating. What would Invisalign do for me? And he said, well, let's think about it. I see if I could get this Smile View tool, which would allow me to actually look at what my teeth would be like. I think the decision's easy. When can I have that tool at my dentist's office?
Well, you know, actually, you can get that on your iPhone today. There's an app, there's a mobile app called Smile View. If you download that, you can take a selfie. In 60 seconds, you can see how your teeth are now and what your teeth will look like after a clinical episode with us.
Please, that's incredible. So can I just say, 3M reported a number today, and I wasn't that impressed with it. Many other people weren't. What I realized is they could come in, theoretically, and really just kind of cut margins just by themselves and still have their own margins lifted if they came in. Aren't you worried someday that a big, deep-pocketed partner will just say, you know what, I'm going to give this thing away. I'm going to give this thing away for a couple of years because we can afford to do it and won't hurt our bottom line.
Well, I think it's difficult for a company like 3M. I mean, they make 35% margins on their wires and brackets business. They concentrate mainly in teens. You have to have scale in this business in order to make money, and they don't have that scale yet. So I think even a big company, Jim, I worked for GE for years, that kind of a division, it has a certain responsibility to be able to return cash and margin. So I just think it's a difficult equation.
I think, Joe, obviously having admitted that I was wrong in that last quarter, I want to reiterate that I was wrong because I think your story is a very good one, and the other companies didn't rise to the challenge, and maybe they won't. So thank you so very much for coming on Mad Money.
Jim, thanks for having us back. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. That's Joe Hogan, President and CEO of Align Technologies. Guys, if you read the conference call, you're going to know why they're beating everybody. They're just better. Mad Money's back into the break. Booyah! Jim Cramer here from Mad Money. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube. Click here to subscribe and get the jump on my exclusives with CEOs, plus market news, investing advice, and a whole lot more.